All right. Let me put this today's lesson in the Zoom chat. I'm sure everyone already has it, but just in case, here you go. Follow along. So today we're going to go over not so much AWS networking, but more about the content delivery. We're going to go over SNS and SQS. These stand for Simple Notification Service and Simple Queue Service, just pretty much messaging in the cloud. Not just in the cloud, you can also message like email or text message, and kind of use it with like alerting. Um, we haven't covered monitoring, I don't think yet, but later on in the curriculum, you'll be able to use these kind of services to, I don't know, send you a text or an email if a certain threshold or alarm is going off, and you'll be able to alert yourself. Anyways, so today we're driving into some of the most exciting and powerful services AWS offers, SNS and SQS and API Gateway and CloudFront. These tools are the building blocks of modern, scalable, and efficient cloud platforms. Let's explore more on learning about these services and how they can transform the way we build and manage applications. I'm not entirely sure if I believe in they're the most powerful services. I think AWS offers a lot of powerful service, and these seem like a couple simple ones. Um, to pass I believe to pass the AWS certification that everyone is required to pass. I don't believe it covers API Gateway or CloudFront. So today's just going to be like a slight introduction to them, but we're really not going to be getting into them. Just kind of letting you know that it is there and it exists, but we'll get into that later. So what are we trying to accomplish? These tools are critical in learning how to build modern applications, giving you skills that are highly valuable in the tech industry. By learning simple notification service, simple queue service, API gateway, and CloudFront, you gain a comprehensive understanding of how to build and manage an application from start to finish. This knowledge is key to become a well-rounded developer or cloud architect. Um, yep, so these are pretty common in AWS, simple notification service. If you do end up developing an AWS, chances are you will probably be using both of these. And they are just good things to know. Um, that being said, let's get into the lesson. It isn't too terribly difficult or too complex. I think these two services are pretty straightforward. So today's lesson will be fairly quick. Can I please get a volunteer for someone to read this top paragraph?
I'll read it. Amazon SNS and SQS are AWS services that allow devs to decouple application components and build scalable distributed systems. They're powerful tools that help you manage how different parts of your application talk to each other. They can help make your systems more robust and scalable. Let's dive into what each service does, their strengths and weaknesses, and when you might want to use them.
Awesome. Thank you for that flow. So SNS, or Simple Notification Service, is a service that lets you send a message to a large number of subscribers quickly. That pretty much sums up what SNS is. Think of it as a broadcasting system. You send a message and it gets pushed out to all the subscribers. Imagine you want to send real-time updates to your users like alerts or reminders. SNS makes it super easy to broadcast these messages instantly and reliably. So the use cases include sending notifications, for example, alerting users about new content or system issues. There's also a fan out pattern, sending a single message to multiple services or endpoints. That is correct. And event-driven applications, triggering actions in real life time. So say you're monitoring the cost of all your EC2 instances for a certain AWS account. You can set alarms, which we'll get into later in the curriculum in the monitoring portion. And then you can have an SNS trigger upon the alarm and send out an email notification saying, I don't know, how much you went over the threshold or saying you're close to the threshold. So it just kind of alerts you to, monitor your stuff. Anyways, so here are some instructions if you would like to follow along to create an SNS, a simple notification service. There are different things. There's a topic. Let's just go to the cloud right here. And so in the search bar, just type in SNS, Simple Notification Service, and click on it. I have created one before. But if it is a first time that I can enable this account, the screen will be slightly different. I believe like there'll be like a create topic down here. Topic's like where you start off at. If you create a topic, let's actually just go in here. So on the left-hand side, you get dashboard. It'll show you all of your topics that you have. We really only have one. You can also see your subscriptions and your platform applications. Anyways, so that's the big thing. Takeaway out of here is topics and subscriptions. But what is a topic? Well, let's go and create one. A topic, there are two types. There is a first in, first out, FIFO. That is a common term in the software engineering industry. FIFO, first in, first out, FIFO. And so this is, let's just read this. So strictly preserved message ordering, exactly one message delivery, and subscription protocol is SQS. SQS stands for Simple Queue Service, or there is standard. So this is the best effort messaging ordering. So that's what FIFO stands for. It's just like the ordering. So if you think about it as like a kind of like a pipeline. Like if it comes in first, it's the first one that shoots out. You kind of think about it like that, like a stack. And then there's standard best effort messaging ordering, at least one message delivery, subscription protocol. Can use SQS, Lambdas, data firehose, which is another AWS thing, HTTP, SMS, email, mobile application endpoints. It doesn't really matter what you choose.
Yo, how
Just
your money when you go do?
sorry, what was that, Mikhail?
Sorry, it was a mistake.
Oh yeah, no worries, bro. Yeah. So, anyways, so here we're just gonna name it Reno. I don't know, Reno's topic two. I've already created one, but anyways, we'll just create it. So what a topic does, it's pretty much like a logical holder, and you'll be able to subscribe to it. And then anyone that's subscribed to that topic will either can like receive the message that you publish out. Is that I'll show how it works here in a second. Maybe that's probably a better way to do it. Anyways, so that's the resource name. But anyways, if you wanted to have a display name, then you could do that too. It is optional, so it's not the biggest thing. You can encrypt these. You can add access different policies, but we're not going to need any of these extra features since we're just creating a topic and a subscription. But anyways, just do know that you can encrypt these. You could add policies based on users and whoever has access to these, and to be able to control that if you would like. For this, we don't need any. There's also a data protection policy. You could either do basic or advanced. You could have a custom one, deny configuration, like there's a bunch of stuff that you can do to lock it down and make it very restrictive. But for this, we're not really going to need it. There is logging, but all these are optional. None of these are actually required. There's tagging. You can tag pretty much every resource in AWS. There's various reasons. If you ever want to observe like different costs per tag, you could do that by resource and tags. Anyways, so the only thing we're really going to do is click on or type, which is mandatory, and then name it. And we've gone ahead and did that. And let's go ahead and create our topic. It is pretty quick. But anyway, so after it finishes provisioning your topic, it'll automatically just put you in your topic. And then we can go ahead and create a subscription. The protocol is what kind of notification that we'll be sending. We can do email, HTTP if we're working with like a web server or something, SMS for like a phone. But anyways, let's just put an email here. Let's just do my Platoon email. So Reno, what is it? I'm trying to remember. At codeplatoon.org. That is my instructor email. You can spam as much as you want because I don't really check it. Anyways, so we are now subscribing. This email is now a subscriber of the topic. Okay. Excuse me. Anyways, so we can go back to our topics. We can see we have a topic. I just created this earlier. I could actually just go ahead and delete it. Let me just delete. What did it say? Delete me, I think is what it said. Anyways, so that's ended up deleting. So now we have a topic and we have a subscription. Cool. Anyway, oh, did I subscribe to the wrong topic? Pending information. Oh, no, that's fine. Right topic. So anyways, so let's go ahead and create actually, I might have to read about an SQS. Oh, you know what? Let's actually go and so we've created the topic, we've subscribed to the topic with my email, my code to email, and now we can publish a message. So we'll have to select the topic. Let's go back to it. So we will select the topic, and right here there is the edit, and you can change your stuff about it, like your name and whatnot. Delete it, which we don't want to do, and then we can publish a message. So here is the subject. So testing SNS. TTL is time to live. It just means how long do you want it to keep on trying before it fails and like give up completely. So you can just put any kind of milliseconds, but it is optional. So I'm just going to leave it blank. And from here, here's my message for my email that I'm sending to myself. Testing from SNS Platoon. Sure, that sounds good. Anyways, you can add tags to it if you want and some other stuff, but that's fine. Anyways, just a simple little message that we're going to send. And it is published. So if I actually go to my CodePlatoon email, I won't do that because there is some other CodePlatoon stuff in there, but I will guarantee that there is a message now from AWS that says testing from SNS. So kind of cool. You can kind of be creative in what you want to do. You can use like what is it, like SMS or whatever for like a phone call. You could have like a text come through to your phone. So you can use your imagination, let it go wild about things that you can do with the simple notification service. Excuse me. Anyways, anyone have questions on SNS? Cool. Yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So pros, it is scalable, handles millions of messages daily, flexible, supports multiple delivery methods like HTTP, email, SMS, etc. Ensures message delivery reliability through retries. That's the time to live, the TTL. And then delivers messages almost instantly. Its cons, messages are not stored after delivery attempts are exhausted. Messages might not be received in the order they were sent, and less control over how messages process once sent. So it is not a perfect system or tool, but it is a handy tool if this is something that you're looking for. So that's SNS in a nutshell. Pretty straightforward. Let's jump into SQS, or the Simple Queue Service, as it stands for. The Amazon Simple Queue Service is a fully managed message queuing service to aid you in decoupling and scaling serverless applications, distributed systems, and microservices. SQLS allows developers to differentiate their work instead of dealing with the complexity and overhead associated with managing and operating message-oriented middleware. So simple queue service ensures that messages between different parts of your application are not lost and can be processed independently. It's like having a reliable middleman. By using SQS, you can send, store, and receive messages between software components without losing messages or requiring other services to be available. With just 3 simple commands, you can start using SQS right away using the AWS console, CLI, command line interface, or the SDK, software development kit of your choice. I'm not sure if you guys knew what SDK was, but it stands for software development kit. It's a pretty common term that's thrown around, but it is something good to know in case, I don't know, it comes up in like your daily job when you guys get into the field, or just, I don't know, it might pop up during an interview. So just something to know about. There are 2 types of queues, standard queues, just like SNS, and your first in, first out queues. Use cases include asynchronous processing, when tasks don't need immediate response, right? Like you just take extra time and wait for other processes to finish. That's kind of what asynchronous means. Load balancing, distributing work evenly across multiple servers. Load balancing pretty much just, how do you describe that? It's pretty much it throws traffic wherever you want it and kind of distributes it in a manner that you specify. And then batch processing, collecting and processing messages in a group. So batch is a pretty good way to memorize that. This really isn't stuff that you have to memorize either. This is just stuff you just go in the console, and it's pretty straightforward to figure it out. As long as you know the concept of it, I think you would be fine. But anyways, let's go ahead and set up a simple queue service. So back in the AWS console, in the search bar, we can go SQS for simple queue service, and it should be the first one that pops up. Let's go ahead and click on it. And it's pretty much just like topics. But if there isn't one here, then it'll take you to like a different page and it'll say like, welcome to like queue, like, I don't know, simple queue service or something like that. But anyways, there'll still be a create queue button, and that'll be the first thing that you want to do. Again, just like simple notification service, you can either go standard or first in, first out. It doesn't really matter for us, since we're not actually doing anything crazy. But let's name it, I don't know, Reno's Q2, because I already made one earlier. Excuse me, guys. There is some simple configuration that you can set up. It is kind of already set to defaults that you don't really have to message with. But just know that you can do like retention period and max message size. This is kilobytes. There's also these cool info buttons. So if you do ever don't know what something does, mostly everything in AWS or other cloud providers for that matter, do provide you with these info or data buttons or whatever you want to call them, to provide you a little bit more information about what everything does. So you're never lost, or it can, hopefully answer some questions for you. But anyways, there are some configurations. You don't really have to mind too much for this. Just leave them at the defaults. Encryption, we can pretty much just leave all this at the defaults, but just know you can do server-side encryption. We'll just keep it enabled for now. And then some other encryption type stuff. We don't really have to mess with these, so we'll just leave everything as the default. Access policy, we're also going to leave as the default of just basic, but just know that you can change this. Say if you wanted to lock down a queue that only certain users have permissions, then that is absolutely something you can do. I don't know, maybe you have different two groups, like you have an admin group and a developer group, and I don't know, developers shouldn't be able to touch this stuff, but admins can. That's something you could absolutely do with access policies. And that goes for every AWS resource out there as well. Yeah, you guys had the IAM class, and should be somewhat familiar with how to create the policies and policy statements like that. So anyways, we'll leave the rest of this as default, but this is just another policy. You can click on the info. The redrive policy, allow policy defines which source queues can be used. Queues as dead letter Q. By default, the redrive allow policy is disabled, which results in the same behavior as allowing all source queues to use this queue as the dead letter Q. When enabling the redrive allow policy, you can choose to allow, deny all source queues or specify a list of 10 source queues by ARN, Amazon resource number. It's like an ID. I think we've covered that before. The source queues must be owned by the same AWS account and must reside in the same region as dead letter Q. Anyways, the big takeaway is you don't have to memorize each and everything on here. That would be almost impossible to do that for every Amazon resource out there, along with all the other stuff that we teach you in this cohort. Just know that you can go through here and you can look at the info tabs if you want, to figure out how to customize exactly what you're looking to do. Also, there's tags on pretty much every AWS resource there is. But anyways, for this, we'll just leave it everything as a default and create or queue. Same thing as SNS. Once you create the queue successfully and provision it, it takes you inside your queue. So you've got all these different things you can go over to tagging, monitoring, dead letter queue, event bridge pipes. I think we'll actually get more into event bridge. You can do some really cool stuff in there. I think that's a different lesson. Anyways, the big thing to do is you could also send and receive messages here. So let's type in hello from SQS and let's just send it. Okay, we have sent it, and now we can come down here and pull for messages. And look, so our message right here is saved in our queue and hello from SQS. So that's pretty much it for SQS. Actually, let's go over the pros and cons. Can scalability handle any number of messages? Flexibility offers both standard and first in, first out queues, stores messages until they can or process, decouple sending and receiving components, first in, first out queues ensure order, right? As the SNS doesn't ensure the order. Well, actually, the FIFO queues do, right? First in, first out. If you do the standard, it's kind of all jumbled up. It isn't stored. Anyways, cons, there can be latency delays as messages are pulled from the queue. Complexity requires additional logic for processing messages. Message storage has associated costs, right? Everything has a price on it. Standard queues do not guarantee order. That's right. Standard queues are not ordered. They're just kind of all jumbled up, just kind of like an S3 bucket. Nothing's ordered. It's just shoved in there. So the benefits, overall SNS and SQS are designed to allow the following benefits: reduce administration cost. I'm not sure about that because these services do cost money with the queues, at least I know they do, because they store data. Messages are delivered reliably. Data security keeps sensitive information safe. It is elastically scalable and very cost effective. I guess the reduced administration cost would come to maybe like sending like alerts, so you can monitor your stuff a little more closely. Anyways, that's kind of it. So final thoughts. It may seem like simple work for now, but knowing how to navigate these UIs, user interfaces to create the above, keep in mind though that while this may be simple, complexity arrives when it comes to integrate these two existing systems and applications, as you'll be utilizing approaches that may include Terraform, which is it's kind of like a programming. It's not technically a programming language, but it's the language that you use in code to create cloud resources, to spin them up, provision them, and manage it programmatically. Lambdas, which are AWS functions, you can think about them. You could write like Python code or JavaScript code and have them do XYZ on XYZ resources. APIs, we all know about APIs, and something else altogether. So you do quite a bit with queues and notification services. They're not overly complex, and they're pretty simple. Is everyone feeling okay about that? Be able to send emails and text messages?
I have a question about the SQS.
Mm-hmm.
When we created that message, where did that message get sent?
Yeah, so it's a queue. So you can think of like queues. You can think about it. It's not a database, but it's like a simple storage. And it just gets sent here directly. So it's just right here. So it just sends it to your queue and stores it in an order. So if we send another one, you'll have like message one, message two, and then just store automatically. Versus like a simple notification service will just send it out, not ever store it. A queue will.
So we would link up a SNS to an SQS to kind
Mm,
of start queuing up things.
no, they actually don't. You don't. I don't think you actually link them together. Let's go to their queues and see about the editing. Um, Here's your configuration. This is just your messages size, your encryption, your policy, another send tags. So no, you don't sync it up to your notification service. It's just a way to store messages. So it's not quite a database. It's just a simple storage for messages. So say you have like a user come on, and you want to have it like a message for that user or like log something at a certain time, then that's something that you would use that for. It's
Real quick,
very,
Reno, right there on this page, it says subscribe to Amazon SNS topic. So, um, wouldn't part of the queue be that other services can,
oh
it
yeah.
doesn't always just sit there. You can pull from the queue depending on how you have it set up. So, you can subscribe services and then it removes it from the queue once it's pulled out. So whoever grabs it, however you have it set up,
Oh,
once they
great,
pull from
cool.
the queue as far as instead of pushing automatic notifications. So.
Oh, great, yeah. No, I didn't see that. So good call out, Paige. Cool. Any more questions on SNS or SQS? Cool. So let's go on to API gateways and CloudFront. Like I said before we started, this is we don't actually I think it says it right here. Yeah, both API Gateway and CloudFront Advanced AWS offerings are not required for the foundational AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. I believe everyone is required to take that in here to be able to pass the Platoon cohort. But anyways, they're not required. They could be required for different various associate level certs. But since it's not a part of the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner one, we won't be covering it much in detail. So anyways, we'll just give it a quick little overview of it. Does someone want to read this top sentence or a couple sentences?
Yeah, I can do it. You want all the way the whole paragraph?
You know what? Sure. Yeah, just read this whole section right here.
Amazon API Gateway is an API management tool that lets developers create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. API Gateway handles all these tasks involved in accepting and processing on current API calls. When setting up an API call, users have the option of selecting between HTTP APIs, REST APIs, and WebSocket APIs. As a management tool, building out an API and API Gateway isn't actually building out the API itself, but the configuration to be associated with an existing API in your deployed application. You can also set up API configurations to manage APIs created via Lambdas, which will be covered briefly next week.
Oh, cool. So it sounds like you're learning about Lambdas next week. That's actually something really useful in AWS. So make sure to pay attention to Lambdas. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with that. Anyways, so that's pretty much an introduction to API Gateway. Let's go into Amazon CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront is a content delivery network, or otherwise known as CDN. Everything has a terminology for it. But anyways, service designed to be performant and fast. It securely delivers data, videos, applications, and APIs to customers globally with low latency and higher transfer speeds. CloudFront integrates with other AWS services to provide developer and business an easy way to accelerate content delivery. Setting up CloudFront is done by first creating a distribution. A single distribution can be used to manage content delivery for any number of applications. When connecting APIs managed through API Gateway to CloudFront, a user would be able to create an origin access control configuration using API's invoke URL. Once the distribution's origin point is set to API Gateway endpoint, additional configurations can be set to optimize its performance. This can include caching content, limiting payloads, simplifying queries, reducing connectivity packet loss, setting rate limits, logging asynchronously, improve cache hit ratio, and reduce origin load. That's about as much as we'll cover in this. Just know that these services are offered. I personally don't know too much about these services since we instructors do not teach this in part of the curriculum, but it's just kind of putting it out there that these AWS services do exist. So I believe there is an assignment to do. You're just going to be creating an SNS topic and an SNS queue. Anyways, I will create breakout rooms. Let me stop this.